Hi, welcome to your first tutorial of SQL. In this video, I'm going to give you a short introduction and history of SQL. SQL is abbreviated as Structured Query Language. It is a standard language for programmers to talk with databases through a database management system. A database management system is a software product that allows to communicate between databases using SQL. Now let's familiarize ourselves with SQL. SQL is a computer language for communication with databases. SQL is not a program or a development environment. There is no front-end built into SQL. SQL is a language. It is a set of rules used to communicate between databases. Second, SQL does not have a backend. There are no tools intrinsic to the language that can actually store data. It is just a standard means of communicating with products that can hold data. Consider a spoken language. The language itself doesn't contain any speaker or listener. The language only contains the vocabulary, grammatical rules, and idioms to be used by the speakers and listeners. The people are not part of or specified in any way by the language. SQL is like a spoken language in another way. The listener and speaker can have any mother tongue as long as they can translate that to SQL. So, a computer can use any operating system and any database software as long as a software can translate from its internal language to SQL. SQL is a language, not a software product. The front-end software interfaces with the user, back-end software holds the data. SQL is the language for these two pieces of software to communicate with each other. Third, SQL is not a procedural programming language unlike C, C++, Java, .NET, they are all procedural programming languages. SQL is a set-based language which communicates in statements that define an outcome. It is very different to the procedural language that instruct the computer how to proceed step by step to reach an objective. Now, SQL is not network aware. In the same sense, like the written English is not dependent on or aware of being used in telephones or emails. Neither is SQL. Whenever a SQL statement is issued, there must be a way for it to be conveyed or connected to its destination. Programmers create, maintain, and fine-tune those connections with code in front-end and back-ends. That means the speaker and listener should be aware of the language they speak. Now let's look at the history of SQL. The father of relational databases and thus SQL is Dr. Ted Card, who worked for IBM. Card described a relational model for databases in 1970. IBM spent a lot of time and money researching how to implement his ideas. IBM came to market with a product called System R in 1978. But other companies had formed and created relational database products much before IBM was ready to release. The first market was Oracle, and the second to market was Ingress. IBM then released improved products in 1982 named SQL, DS, and DB2. Commercial acceptance of SQL was precipitated by the formation of SQL Standards Committee by the American National Standard Institute and the International Standard ISO, that is ANSI and ISO, in 1986 and 1987. 2 years later, they published a specification known as SQL 89. An improvement and expansion to the standard gave the world the SQL 92. Now we have this third generation standard, SQL 99. Now let's revise some points on SQL. First, SQL is not a program or a development environment. It is a language, it is a set of rules. Second, SQL does not have a backend. There are no tools for the language that can actually store data. Third, SQL is not a programming language. It is not a procedural programming language. It is a set-based language which communicates in statements rather than in procedures. 4. SQL is not network aware. That's a short introduction on SQL and history. Now let's see how DBMS looks and how to install it. I hope you watch my next video. Thank you.